Hi loving soul, welcome back. Today's episode is dedicated to you if you need a little bit of help letting go of your ex, or maybe you feel like you actually need quite a lot of help letting go of your ex, or if you're in a season of having just broken up with somebody and it's still feeling fresh and painful. Oh my goodness, do I know how you're feeling? Just give yourself a moment, and I know this is a real cliche, but remember how proud you should be of yourself for going through this hard thing and rising to the challenge. You're here now listening to this podcast with the aim of improving your state of mind and getting over them, right? Which is amazing. So I really encourage you to stick in your headphones and go out for a walk, get some fresh air, and try and move your body, get some sunlight if you can, or rain on your face if that's the way the weather's going. Get out and get your blood pumping if you haven't already today. Go get some really good exercise and listen to this whilst you're going. Together it will be a very powerful combo, okay? This is going to be over 2 parts because I've got lots of wonderful things to talk to you about, all of which are going to help you to step back into that amazing, precious life of yours that you so deserve to shine in. So let's get to it. Have past love relationships brought you anxiety and stress? Maybe you've hit a wall with dating, like, why are all the good ones taken? Even though you're a go-getter, does true love feel unattainable and outside of your control? Hey, I'm Remy, clinical hypnotherapist and my master coach. In this podcast, you will learn how to heal heartache and move on from your past relationships, nurture your inner child, master your mind to work for you instead of against you, live an authentic life that's in alignment with your truth, regulate your nervous system, understand the dynamics of healthy relationships, and attract the loving relationship you truly deserve. 14 years ago, I went from being a codependent, anxious serial dater and marrier of the wrong men until I finally realised I had a lot of work to do. Well, I made it my mission to learn everything I needed from the world's best and did the work, and very quickly met the man I've been waiting a lifetime for. These days, I've got the family and life I dreamed of and use my 3-step framework to help other women claim the same power over their lives. I'm here to expand your belief of what's possible for you. You deserve unshakable self-confidence and a relationship that feels right on every level. It's time to upgrade your subconscious and start some real-life magic happening. So nestle on in and let's get to it. First of all, how cool is it that you have stumbled upon this podcast and I am here now with all the zillions of things it took for me to be here recording a podcast episode that gets into your ears, all the technology that had to come together, all the algorithms that had to fall into place, the timing, the everything, so that you are listening to this exactly when your sweet soul needs to hear it. I mean, that to me is just one of the billion examples we have every day of the incredible magic that this universe weaves for us. Isn't that amazing? Sometimes we forget to look around and realise how well looked after and how safe we are, really. If we think of everything that's happened in our life and you just take a moment to stop and reflect, you might have called it bad things at the time, but I guarantee every bad thing that happened, you grew from that. And there was a wisdom in that made it lined with treasure. And sometimes we choose to look at that side of things and sometimes we don't. But usually with retrospect, when we look back, it's much easier to take those jewels and turn them into a real revelation of how incredible our life really is and everything, and how everything works, everything, whether it's a painful journey or a sweet journey, we can learn and grow from everything. And even if that growth and learning means that what we've taken from it is an absolute solid evidence that we have survived and we can do hard things. And just knowing that is a tonic and a medicine in itself to know that we can do this, okay? And you can get through this stage of life that you are in. It shall pass. And it is up to you now to be the creator of your life and decide which way you would like your life to turn. Because believe it, you are the co-creator of your life. And when I say co-creator, I believe, because it's been proven to me so many times, in the law of attraction. It is 100% in my eyes the way the world works. And in this life, when your eyes are open to it, the magic that falls on your lap is unbelievable. And when we take just tiny baby steps towards our highest and best life, when we follow what we know inside feels like truth, the universe, whatever it is that you choose to call this magnificent creative force, it just comes running to meet you, and it will shove mountains out the way to help you succeed. We're here for that. You are exactly where you need to be. And what is going to fall in your lap when you start living in this way of integrity is unbelievable. And even if right now you feel like you are stuck in some dark hole that just feels awful and depressing and crap, trust me, when you hit rock bottom, there is only one way to go, and it is up. And from my deepest, darkest moment of my life, my dark night of the soul, I was sitting on my bed. I had just broken up with my husband at the time, and I really was just like, what the fuck have I done here? How did I end up in this situation? And I felt like crap. And from then, everything turned around because I made the decision to get to the bottom of it and somehow work out what the hell I had to do to understand what I had done, what I've been doing to attract this into my life, and all the ways I hadn't been listening to my truth. And it had been knocking on my door. I mean, if you think back at your relationship too, I wonder if you can pinpoint some red flags that went off in your head. I just know that they are there. And I think when they happen, we make up all these excuses for them, and we really don't want them to be true because we think that maybe this person is the one, and oh my God, it's so hard to find somebody, and they're good in all these other ways, and how much good do I really deserve anyway? And who am I to be knocking this gift horse in the mouth, right? But it's not true at all, because when you do listen to those red flags and you make the space in your life for the one who actually is right for you, and you believe in abundance, and you know that the one for you is coming, and you know the joy that you expect to feel, that you deserve to feel, it finds you. It really 100% does. Trust me, because that is how I manifested my husband. That is how my husband came into my life. When I knew what I wanted, I knew what I deserved, and I just knew that I was going to get it. But anyway, that's a story for another day. Let's get back to these very important mindset shifts about the stage that you are in right now, about breaking up with somebody, and let's look a bit deeper into that. Now, I've said all that because I really want you to just take a moment to focus on how you are thinking about your ex. Our mind will make up a way that we think about them, and it will go to sort of this default sort of experience of them. But we can override that and turn it around into something that better serves us. So just notice if the way you're imagining them is in a negative or a positive way, and the feelings it's evoking in you, and what meaning you are giving to your breakup. There's all different ways to see things, and the one that might help you in this situation is to think of them more of a stepping stone. And just see if you can get a sense of them slightly below you. Just literally, physically, slightly below you. And there you are, over and beyond them, surveying the fascinating world that awaits once you step above them. Trample on his head if you have to. He can't really feel it. It's fine. Especially if he was a dickhead. That's fine. Just joking. But kind of not joking. Just trample on him and jump over them and just go higher and higher until you get to see this wonderful, amazing vision of your life over and beyond them. From them, I'm sure you gained loads of wisdom about what the hell it is that you don't want in your life. And you probably would have also got a wonderful idea of what it is you would like more of in your life. So from that, you can extract all these preferences and the opposite of preferences that you don't want, and use that to build your model of what it is that you truly want in your life. And just know that you don't have to sacrifice things at all. If you knew that there was a person coming to you who had all the good things that this person had, and even more, without all the bad crap and red flags that came with it, how does that feel now? Don't get me wrong, you're probably going to get your ego kicking back, coming up with something along the lines of, well, that's not even possible, this is all nonsense. But that is your fearful ego, be good if I could speak, your fearful ego voice inside, okay? In all of us, in our primal part of our brains, we have a survival brain. And I call it the fearful ego brain because it's not interested in us thriving at all. All it wants for us is to survive. And the only way it knows how to do that for us, don't get me wrong, it's amazing because it's kept us as humans alive for millions of years, but the way it does that is for looking out for things that we know about already. It keeps us rooted in the familiar. The way it thinks about it is that if you went down a certain path as cavemen and you survived that path because there was no volcanoes erupting and no tigers, it's going to assume that that path is always the safer option than the other path, which is unknown, because in that unknown path there might be certain death lurking, right? And that plays out in a way now, in these days when we don't have to turn right or left to avoid volcanoes and tigers. But it still does keep us rooted in the familiar. And if you let that part of your brain rule your decisions in life, you are actually starving this very important other part of us, which is our true self, our preference of everything we want and dream about in life. And all those little hopes that sometimes we squash and sometimes we listen to. And when we squash it, it's because we're listening to that fearful ego voice. But all those sort of passions in us come to us from our true self. And the ego absolutely hates it by default, right? We can actually train it to not hate it, but that comes after a while of practicing, teaching your ego that it's actually safe to follow this passion. Not even passion, but this kind of inkling of an idea of what we do and don't want when we listen to ourselves. So if just for a moment you can just ignore the yells from your ego about why it's absolutely not possible to have somebody come into your life, just like that, who meets every single fabulous criteria that you have set out. Just ignore it for now and just know, just set it aside for a moment and just know that it's possible for you, right? I've been doing this experiment for years now where I have parking angels, and anyone who's driven with me knows about my parking angels. My children know about it, my husband knows about it, all my friends know about it. They're like, Remy's parking angels, sort her out every time with a parking space. Because I started this back when I first stumbled upon the law of attraction. I read Conversations with God, and it led me down this whole wonderful pathway of this law of attraction business, right? And I was like, okay, I'm going to test it out. And every time I need a parking space, I'm going to thank my angels for bringing me a parking space. And I'm going to know deep down in the depths of my soul that my parking space is waiting for me in the divine time, exactly when I need it and exactly where I need it to be. And if I tell you, my parking angels have literally never let me down. And if I tell you, I have lived in London and Sydney, two of the busiest freaking cities in the world and the hardest places to find parking, and they never let me down. Like, unbelievable, okay? So what we're going to do is just set aside any of those fearful ego sounds that are telling you it's not true, and we're going to focus on the fact that love is abundant and what you want will come to you when you believe it is possible. All you have to do is be willing to drop the belief that it's not, right? And we're going to be working on that throughout this podcast. Okay, so with that in mind, we're going to think about our thoughts in a different way. I want you to see them as the magic wand that creates every amazing thing we've ever experienced. I'm talking about Disney World, cinnamon buns, aeroplanes. I mean, everything. It all started with a thought. Someone's thought, which came from a hunch, which came from their true self. So I challenge you to start paying attention to your thoughts, because they are your magic wand too. They really are. And it is the key to your wonderful life. I think the most important skill we can learn as humans is just to manage that fearful ego voice that stops us, and to really pay close attention to your true self, and then take just the baby steps it takes to get to where your true self is guiding you. And it's incredible because we always know the next baby step, and then after that the next one reveals itself. I mean, every time. One of the most amazing things about being human is that we can choose our thoughts. And sometimes it doesn't feel that way because our minds run themselves ragged. We have what the Buddhists call monkey minds that go crazy, right? It's why I think so many people do meditation and then feel that meditation isn't for them. And it might not be, because their mind is going round in circles, presenting them with thoughts that make them feel really crap, right? And this is the fearful ego mind that's going round and round and round. But the magic is that we can overcome that fearful thought. We can actually look at the thoughts and say, oh, isn't that interesting? I'm having this horrific thought that's making me feel a way I don't really want to feel. How interesting. And just because we're thinking it doesn't make that thought true, right? It doesn't mean that this calamity that we're thinking about in our mind, this uncomfortable reality, or what we think to be reality, it doesn't mean it is reality. It's just a thought. And what we can do is observe those thoughts and kind of come from it from the higher observer point, and then look down at all the chaos from a high fluffy cloud, as if we're looking down at a crazy rainstorm below us. So we're sitting on our fluffy cloud, watching all these thoughts go round and round and round like a crazy tornado, rainstorm, hurricane. But we're not getting wet. We're not getting soaking. We're just high on our cloud, comfortably looking down at it. And that's what it's like. When you really learn to master your thoughts, you're able to you might start to get a little bit wet in that rainstorm because we're still human. But then you're like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm getting wet. I'm just going to shoot right up onto my cloud and just have a look down and notice what I'm thinking. But what I will say now is that if you do practice this practice of looking at your thoughts and noticing your thoughts and observing your thoughts with a loving curiosity, that in and of itself is as good as meditation in many ways, because you will find that your stress is reduced, your anxiety goes down, and you feel much more in control of your life. And then when that happens, you operate on a higher vibration, which makes you an absolute magnet for better things. So that brings us to the end of part 1 of this 2-part episode, helping you to turn over your heartbreak and see it in a new light that hopefully fills you with a sense of expansive possibility. We've learned how to reframe the past, see the truth about why our minds keep us stuck in undesirable situations, aka our fearful ego. We've learnt about the magic wand we all have that creates our highest and best lives, otherwise known as our mind and our thoughts and our behaviours. We've learned how to master our monkey mind by making friends with it instead of trying to turn it off, and to observe and acknowledge what it's thinking, and then offer it a different way of thinking that serves us better. And we've also started taking a look at our past relationships and asking some really important questions, looking at whether it is actually in alignment with our highest and best wishes for our life, or whether we were with our partner for a reason that was other than joy. Was it because we needed something? Was there some codependency there? And we will dive into codependency in another episode, but that is when we need a relationship rather than want it. And in this life, we are here to want things, not need them because we can't enjoy ourselves without them. It makes a world of difference into stepping into your healthy relationship that you want for your life. I look forward to seeing you back with me for part 2, which will be released on Friday. If you have any questions in the meantime, you're very welcome to get in touch. My details are in the show notes below. Until then, have a lovely rest of the week. Take care and lots of love. You should be so proud of this courageous, incredible journey you are on, and I'm so happy to be here supporting you to say goodbye to toxic relationships and claim the wonderful life and love you truly deserve. To get more coaching, tools and support, connect with me in a gorgeous community of like-minded women by joining the completely free Heartache to Happiness Facebook group at bit.ly/heartache2, that's the number 2, happiness. If you have a friend who you think needs to hear today's episode too, why not spread the love and share it with them? Sending you so much love in abundance. Until next time.